Inasmuch as Parliament was not part of the tool design and validation process, it becomes very difficult for Parliament to own up to such kind of report.
The Director of Research at the Saloon Parliament, Gilbert Nabe, been take the floor inside Wednesday press conference where the Saloon Parliament organized as part of efforts of the parliamentary leadership for clean the bad name we don't get after we 2 perception survey report them from CAL and IGR rate the Saloon Parliament as the second most corrupt institution na Saloon. The head of the research department at the Saloon Parliament invoked during this press conference not being too simple for the fact say the 2 CSO them will report Parliament's corruption perception say na research them do for reach them result. So Mr. Nabe said for sure say Parliament not dey pay am for nothing, as instead for sure say the research for the 2 report them based on for rate Parliament not correct.
The perception in that particular report is based on interactions and visibility of the respondents to public officials. We consider this not a factual conclusion, because you can't just say by the visibility and interaction of public officials there's enough evidence to show that they are corrupt. Most of the respondents have little or no knowledge about parliamentary workings to be able to provide that general conclusion.
As you hear, Mr. Nabe say, you know go say for just talk to people with plenty of them not even know how parliament they work and use what and say for judge parliamentarian them say them corrupt, and that the 2 CSO them not been consult parliament before them do them research, and for the fact say parliament not be part of the research process, the report where they make not all water. But the question where other person go want for ask now, if na pauper say if you want for assess person you for make in no force. But Mr. Nabe bin continue for do in work for condemn the 2 reports them with IGR and CAL pool based on the method with them use, as he say the method get plenty fault we go make person we get sense just take the report them for rap patch granates.
The level of accuracy of some of the statistical analysis of the report. Statistical calculations in table 1 page 9 is not as accurate as expected. The percentage level has a variation, and so we believe that a level of thoroughness was not done to that particular report. The total calculation of targeted sample size by district is supposed to be 2,400 as indicated, but it actually ended up being 2,401. The report purported to target 21 respondents for the KII, that is the key informant interviews, but then 20 was listed on the report in page 10. The target respondents was limited to urban district localities. Thus, the study was largely urban-centric and not inclusive to get the merit of a national survey. There is seemingly less attention to details, and this, we are convinced, can always render the conclusion of a report of this nature faulty.
The head of research at the Saloon Parliament say the people them with IGR and CAL them talk to for do them sample size go be the one them no more we talk within CAL and IGR been want for years.
The method of selecting respondents could be largely judgmental. The approach may sometimes slip into the use of convenient sampling, leading to error in judgment and conclusions. It makes room for production of inaccurate assumptions. There is always the low level of reliability and can provide roadblocks to the results. There is inability to generalize research findings, and it also provides a significant number of influential statistical procedures that can be considered invalid at times. Participants in purposive sampling can also easily manipulate the data being collected.
Inside the Afrobarometer reports, some of the things them where them fair not na that MP them now they do the work where them vote them for do. They not can work on them constituency them, and that they're not trustworthy. We mean say MP them na people we not for believe. The report from the Afrobarometer carry on saying plenty people say MP them not can give work to the people them we vote for them, and that MP them not to tell presidents the truth, and that MP them corrupt pass mark, and that this more be more na MP them. But Mr. Nabe been quick for respond and say most of waiting the survey report condemn MP them like for fair work for them people them and bring development, not to MP them work.
The traditional role of MPs are related to lawmaking, oversight, and representation. So job delivery and development shown as the second most important responsibility cannot be true. Lawmaking and oversight placed third and fourth with only 9% and 4% rating. So what is clear here is that the respondents, or even those that maybe might have prepared the questions, are not even aware of the very critical and important functions of members of parliament. They also, additionally, 78% of the MPs, they say visit at least once in a year. That is the expectation. But 40% are indicating that they do not make such visits. I consider this largely erroneous. It is very clear. I can vouch for every member of parliament in this fifth parliament that they have made visits to their constituents at least once. So for you to put 40% as a reality does not speak to the truth.
We even talk to journalists them after we parliament we don't respond to the corruption perception survey report them. The executive director of IGR and Lavali say they not accuse MP them say them corrupt, but people them wouldn't talk to feel say MP them corrupt.
Nobody has accused anyone of corruption. We are just reporting what people said. Nobody accused anyone of corruption. That's the difference between accusing someone of corruption and saying that we feel that there is corruption. So do you understand the difference?
But other person go ask what are the difference where you feel and talk say person the thief and we just say person the thief. And inside this case, IGR and Carl give chance to people for just talk what them feel for talk, but MP them we don't affect and respect serious one. How for arrange this case now? Now the $1 million question. But Andrew Lavali still tin up tall for defend the method where the Afro Barometer and IGR in particular use for do them research, as he say now the best method. We not get any fault or error and nobody not go able for defeat or challenge this method.
The methodology has been tried and tested across Africa. It has a gold standard methodology. So you cannot say, I mean, who dares challenge the Afrobarometer methodology, right? It has gold standard methodology. It's been tried and tested for years. They started the survey since 1999. And this is the 8th round that they have been. The interesting thing is, if you look today, just yesterday, there was a publication by the Anti-Corruption Commission hailing what the Afrobarometer said. Just 3 weeks ago, there was a there were views about from the opposition hailing what civil society is saying. Of course, Parliament is against what civil society is saying. So when it is good, the methodology is not good. It's good. When it is bad, the methodology is not so good.
Still, Parliament and the two civil society organizations them they inside the egg and fall situation. For sake of the corruption perception survey report them, we don't rank the Salone Parliament as the second most corrupt institution na Salone, and it's still not clear yet which this go end and how really MP them that the Salone Parliament go able save the neck from them two perception survey report here. We rank them as the second most corrupt people them na Salone. This is not the last report of the 3 series reports with Gbla TV online promise for do on the response with the Salone Parliament give for sake of the two perception survey report them. We rank the Salone Parliament as the second most corrupt institution na Salone. For Salone Parliament Eye on Gbla TV online, main Abdullah Gbla the report.